y'all? This is John and Mike back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast, now a part of Millions and Fan First Sports Network. Check us out at either of those places. I know I talked about it on the last episode. We are going to be doing things a little bit differently during the off season. I'm going to try and do 2 shorter episodes from now until the start of the season, then go back to the normal way we do things during the season. But only the Sunday night recording will be live on Millions. Audio is always going to be available everywhere you find it and on YouTube. So just a heads up, you will be getting extra stuff in your feed from us. Lucky you or not, up to you to decide.
Yep.
For this episode, we're talking about this weekend's NFL draft and likely spots for the Dawgs to go, and also where we would like them to go. We're also going to talk about throw in some bets. Why not?
Hell
I
yeah.
love losing money. That's why I'm married. And just a little inside the park baseball. We're recording this right after the last one, so we're doing the same. I will say I have moved on to drinking some of this baby Saz over here. And poured myself a little bit too much in this glass, so the end could get interesting.
And I still have the same tequila jalapeno mango bullshit that I had before. So
I will say, in a margarita, that could be good. Straight up,
yeah,
does your liver hate you?
probably. You know what? But the good thing is I'm not a real gym teacher. I'm a gym teacher, so it doesn't matter.
That's fair. That's fair. What do they say? To treat outside injuries, you use alcohol. So to treat inside injuries, you use alcohol too.
Well, I was gonna say those who can't teach gym, but yeah, that works too.
Oh. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with the first round of the draft, and I don't remember how I did it last year, but this year I set it up for. We're going to talk about the first round by itself, and we're going to do second through fourth, and then fifth through seventh. Talk about guys that might go undrafted, and then we are going to have time to talk about spring sports at the end, because I tried to keep this short.
All right.
First round, and just a little preamble. For the first round mock draft, I used the NFL.com lead draft writer Eric Edholm. Used his mock draft. Seemed to be, honestly, the most reasonable. He wasn't projecting that every other pick was going to be a trade. I kind of hate when guys do that. Like, you truly have next to no idea
Right.
if the Steelers are going to trade their 28th pick. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
So, we're just avoiding that. I thought this guy was reasonable. But he is projecting the first 4 picks to all be quarterbacks. From the
Huh.
digging that I have done, that has never happened before.
No.
And I did as much digging as possible with the history of drafts. It oddly doesn't go back all that far because of how often the NFL has changed the draft structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, first 4 picks projected to be quarterbacks: Caleb Williams to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to the Commies, Drake May to the Pats, and then J.J. McCarthy to the Vikings. After a trade with Arizona, that's really the only trade that he had projected in his first round.
Mhm. I will
Uh,
say I think earlier today they said that the odds for JJ going second overall have improved a decent amount. I don't know. I can't tell you a number off the top of my head because I didn't look into it, but again, as a Michigan fan as well as a Georgia fan, obviously, I don't see it. I mean, I think he can be fine, but I like as like a franchise quarterback, like top 2 pick, I don't see it. But
I really think he would do better at. Oh well, I think Jaden Daniels would be better off with the Vikings versus J.J. McCarthy.
well, Jaden Daniels and RG3 are the same quarterback, and you see how RG3 ended up playing, with the commie, well, the former R words,
You know
on that
what?
field.
The
So yeah,
national like Council of Native Americans are suing the NFL to force them to change the name back to Redskins and bring back the old logo. So
okay,
I don't have a problem with saying it. And they said it's because the old logo was an actual Native American chief that fought against the Americans during the war there. So they want that history preserved, and I respect the hell out of that. I mean, that's
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shit. Yeah, absolutely.
the military respects the hell out of that too. That's why every helicopter is named after some sort of Native American tribe. Just
Yeah, Apache, whatnot. Yeah.
yeah, Apache, Blackhawk, Chinook, Kiowa. For going out to aircraft that are no longer used outside of special forces. But anyways,
Yeah.
back to the draft. Um, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. And a little peek ahead, the over/under on quarterbacks taken in the first round is 4.5 because a lot of people are now expecting Bo Nix to actually get taken in the first round.
Let's go.
I,
Okay.
I'll actually, you know what? Let me pull it back up because we're gonna go ahead and talk about that right now.
There was a so just like while you're doing that, like Danny Cannell on the Cover Three podcast, I like listening to them quite a bit too. But he said it Bo I think last year they had brought it up. Last year he said if Bo Nix goes in the top, I think it was either 12 or 15, he would never shave ever again. And I'm hoping for that. I hope he goes
Wait, who
like
said that?
Danny Cannell.
Oh, let's go.
Dude, I'm hoping for it, man. Let's go top 12. Let's go.
Here we go. So Bo Nix is projected. I don't want to say it was. I don't think it was top 12.
Damn.
It was definitely first round. 22nd to the Broncos.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. Yeah. Okay.
I I like it. They got some pieces. They just need somebody that can not be a statue in the backfield and has the arm to get it out there, and that's what Bo Nix is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Also need
exactly.
somebody to bring the locker room together after they, went for a ride through the Dahmer Pass last season. Or
Well,
not
they
the
had
Dahmer
Zach.
Pass. What's the history? I'm good at this. The pass where everybody ate each other during a blizzard on the Oregon Trail.
Uh, um,
Damn it, you used to be a history teacher, and I'm a nerd.
uh,
How do I not know this?
hmm. Yeah, you know what? I'm sure I'll remember about an hour and a half from now. I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. Iwo Jima.
Donner. The Donner Party.
Okay.
I said Dahmer. Close.
Yeah, I was gonna say close enough.
Different types of cannibals, but close. Um, so the first Georgia player, first dog to be projected off the board is Brock Bowers. Um, Projections for him are all over the place, especially from when the first mock drafts came out after the football college season was over until now. I've seen literally as high as fourth to the Cardinals. I've seen as low as 20 something. But recently, the most common projection is going to Indianapolis. Um,
No, 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 no,
yep, top 10.
no.
Top 10 to the Indianapolis Colts to play with world-renowned accurate thrower of the football, Anthony Richardson. Um, I think every Georgia fan would just be so disappointed.
You wanna talk about like Kyle Pitts not getting targets? Good God, Brock would just just die in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I would want him to do a John Elway and refuse to go.
Yeah, with the Colts too. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, and we are a part of the group that is pushing for it to no longer be called an Eli Manning, be called John Elway because he did it first.
Indeed.
But just a list of other teams that have picks in the top 10 that I'd rather see him go to: Chargers, Titans, or Jets.
I don't want to see him with the Jets. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers had never really used a tight end before, so I don't.
I, the one year that he had a legitimate tight end to throw to, he won the Super Bowl. Outside of that, it was guys at the end of their career that were using crutches to get down the field.
Yeah. Okay.
So just throwing that out there. I think that would be
But
a good combination, especially with all the other skill talent guys that they have there. It would
yeah,
be very easy for him to get open because you can't double cover everybody.
right, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be a
Um,
bad ball move by any means.
I also think the Chargers will be great going back to California where he's from. I
Hmm.
think
Jim Harbaugh loves tight ends.
first I forgot that Jim Harbaugh coached the Chargers. I'm a little bit less excited about that possibility. I'm still not against it. Um, Justin Herbert needs a safety valve. They've gotten rid of a lot of their wide receivers this year. You know, I think that would be a great fit, but most people think that he's going to the Colts, which is just a sad day for football.
I don't want our special boy to be in a cult, but here we go.
No. Well, you're going to be real disappointed at the end of this. Um, Amarius Mims is the next guy projected to go. You're actually just going to be disappointed with the entire first round projections because
Yeah.
he's projected to go to the Cowboys.
What
Um,
what pick is that? I'm just curious.
in the 20s. For some reason, I didn't write down the
Really?
pick number for any of the guys in the first round, but I did it for all the other rounds. I don't look.
I mean
I
that seems offensive. I mean, I don't know. That's wild that he would fall
The
in the
injury
20s,
concern.
but I don't
He's
know.
never had a healthy
Yeah.
season in college. That's what I've read is kind of the biggest concern for him. Um, but when you get down, I want to say it was pick 22. He's by far the top guy on the board on every board at that point.
Hmm.
So it makes sense. So I don't hate that spot for him. The Cowboys are truly just a few pieces away from Super Bowl contention. The issue is that those pieces are head coach and owner. Um, two
And
guys that are
quarterback.
not very
People
easily
want that.
replaced, even though the other owners in the NFL have tried to get Jerry Jones to force to sell the team multiple times. Um, but I will say the Cowboys' standard at offensive line is pretty high, and that's something that I think Marius Mims can definitely uphold, especially given the resources of an NFL team to take care of himself a little bit better. And if I'm being honest, NFC East pass rushers, they're not. It's not necessarily the same as the SEC, and I'm not saying that the SEC is better, but I'm saying you're facing higher quality competition in comparison to the rest of your team and their team every week.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I hope that actually makes sense the way that I said it. If not, I don't word good. Um,
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say.
okay, okay. Um, but a couple other spots I would not be upset with Mims going. Titans, again, they do have two picks in the first round this year, so I think that could work out. The Raiders, I think, would not be a bad spot for him. And then the Jets again. Just, I, man, I really do think the Jets are just a couple pieces away from making the playoffs as
Yeah.
long as people
Yeah.
stay healthy.
Hmm.
Um, and I actually wouldn't hate the Saints either. They've treated their offensive linemen really well over the years, and I really think that they're a quarterback away and probably a couple pieces on defense from being a powerhouse in the NFC South again.
For sure. Yeah. No, I'm down with that.
Um, I just can't stand the Cowboys. I don't want him to go to the Cowboys.
No, that would be tough for sure.
Yeah, and one of my best friends, giant Cowboys fan. I just still I don't want to see him happy on Sundays or Saturdays because
As
he's a South Carolina fan. But
so he's one of those that like have never been to Dallas before.
no, 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 he has.
Oh. Oh, okay.
He was a military brat too, so he grew up all over the place, and
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, he has Monday through Friday to be happy.
Yeah.
You can suck it up on the weekends.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, so real interesting here. According to Eric Edholm, and that's a guy I'm going to cite for the rest of the first round. Um, Former dog and forever damn good dog, Adonai Mitchell is projected to the Bills, and I love it so much.
Yes. Hmm.
Like that as far as Georgia-related players in the first round, that is the only one I would grade a 100.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like,
That would
oh,
be perfect for him since they got rid of Stephon Diggs as well.
and they still
And
got
deep
Gabe
threat.
Davis.
Yep.
They still got Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid at tight end.
Is Isaiah McKenzie still there?
He is not.
Oh, damn.
We looked that up a few weeks ago. I don't remember where he's at, but he is not there.
I need to look real quick while you're talking about the rest of the stuff.
Um, our other special boy. He's projected to go to the NFL's enemy with the 32nd overall pick. He would likely win multiple Super Bowls with the Chiefs. And he would likely be one of Patrick Mahomes' favorite targets with how he runs his routes. But I still don't want it. I don't want to have any sort of rooting interest for the Chiefs.
He would be like the inverse Kadarius Toney for them.
Yeah, yeah. And by that you mean good and can catch passes.
Yeah, and like
Okay.
doesn't do stupid shit off the field. But yeah.
It would be like, hey lad, what do you plan on doing during the bye week? Uh, Probably gonna kill a deer. Probably gonna go like spend the afternoons at the children's hospital making some kids' days and spend the mornings in the deer stand. What else are you supposed to do?
Right, yeah. For the record, Isaiah McKenzie, he's with the Giants, and I remember being disappointed with that because again, he still doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Um, I will say, if Lad McConkey does end up going to the Chiefs, and when they win another Super Bowl, he needs to rent a donkey for the parade.
Oh man, next level.
Lad, I know you're probably never going to hear this, but when you win a Super Bowl, get a donkey for the parade. And every Georgia fan, everywhere in the world, will immediately know that McConkey got on his donkey for a sliding touchdown.
Touchdown. Yeah.
Just a couple of bets for the first round. We've already talked about the quarterback one, but it over under is 4.5. Currently projected 5. Um, Personally, I would absolutely take the over, especially since apparently NFL scouts love JJ McCarthy for his ability to hand the ball off.
Give it to Blake Corum, right? Yeah.
And, and look, I understand he's a good player. I understand he has shown the ability to step up when needed more than any other quarterback in this draft, if we're being entirely honest. Caleb Williams hasn't had the clutch moments that J.J. McCarthy has.
Yeah.
The problem is his consistency is like someone who drank the water in Tijuana. It's all over the place. And so I'm going to leave that because that was a terrible reference that came on me in the spur of the moment. Came to me, I should say.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if it was under that. I could see 4 quarterbacks going in the first round. I don't know about 5. Like, do you think like with that said, like, do you think like Penix
So we're getting to that in a
and or
minute.
Bo Nix would go in the first round? I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I would not bet on it, but if I had to, I would probably go under.
I would much rather have Bo Nix than J.J. McCarthy just because. And here's my thing about why I would rather have Bo Nix than J.J. McCarthy because they're both phenomenal players in their own way. Bo Nix, I think, is more versatile. He's more explosive.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has had the time in college as a starter to perfect his craft and know what he's good at and know what he's not. J.J. McCarthy has seen essentially the same offense his entire career and
Hmm.
doesn't know what it's like to be in another system, doesn't know what it's like to adapt to another system. And then third, I think Bo Nix is more his mobility is more effective. I think he's quicker.
Yeah.
And that's why I would prefer Bo Nix if I was starting a franchise. If you if you're walking into a place with, and this is a completely made up team if you don't pay attention to the NFL, but if you're walking into a team that has Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelsey, Derrick Henry, JJ McCarthy's winning you Super Bowls,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's a game.
Like,
He's a top tier game manager to
right,
say the
he
least.
can
Yeah,
distribute the ball extremely effectively. But if you're
yeah. He's elite
saying,
at that.
especially for, he's projected to go to the Vikings. The Vikings are not good enough for JJ McCarthy to be good.
Mm-mm.
The
Maybe like
Bron-
3 years ago. Yeah, not
right.
now.
But with Bo Nix projected to go to the Broncos, if they use a couple of their other draft picks on offensive linemen and, Russell Wilson's not there, so other free agents want to come in, they could be a wild card team this year. Like they
Yeah,
have pieces
yeah.
on defense. They have skill talent. They've been missing a quarterback and interior offensive line. I mean, I think the Broncos had one of the top 10, if not top 5 defenses in the NFL last year.
Well, they did give up that one game against Miami where they let up like 70 points or whatever.
Yes, but that was a vendetta game.
Yeah.
Vengeance is a cruel bitch.
Yeah.
But I mean, hell, the games that Denver won last year were like 12-10. They've got a good defense. So,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, I think, you know, just once again my preference. I'd rather have Bo Nix than JJ McCarthy depending on the situation. Like, you know, if the Chiefs took JJ McCarthy and Patrick Mahomes got hurt, do I still think they would make the playoffs? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like his floor is higher, but I think his ceiling is lower.
Hmm.
I think that's a fair way to put it.
He's a solid quarterback. He's solid. I don't. He's not spectacular. He's not dog shit. He's
No,
solid.
he'll spend a very long time in the NFL and make a
He'll
ton of
have a
money.
bet. Yeah, he'll make more money than Chase Daniel. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, you ready to go on to the second round? Second through
Yes.
fourth is how I have it set up.
Okay.
All right. So from this point out, I had to go to Jordan Reed of ESPN. I went to his mock draft. Um, it was of the 7 round mock drafts, which I went through all 7 rounds. It was the one that I thought was the most reasonable and the most rational. That is not saying that it is either reasonable or rational. It is just the most. He is one of those guys that projected 2 or 3 trades per round. So we're primarily going off of the area in the team that these players are projected to be selected by.
Okay.
Um, I will say they're projecting Penix to go to Vegas in the second round.
Ooh. Okay.
I love that. I really
Yeah.
do. I think
Hmm.
that would be a great fit, and especially if they got a Marius Mims as a tackle in the first round,
Yeah, they'll make noise.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say Javon Bullard is projected to be the next dog off the board at 60th. I'm just gonna let that sink in for a second. 60th to the Bills, and this is my biggest issue with mock drafts, and especially not intentionally trying to shame Jordan Reed for this. But when you look at a mock draft and you know this person does not watch a single college football game, drives me insane.
Hmm.
Like if your job is to write about the NFL draft year round, you are the lead draft writer for ESPN. Like your job is to write about the NFL draft. And you said Jaheim Bell graduated from South Carolina, we've got a problem. Like your job is to know what you're talking about, and you can't even do that. I lose a decent amount of respect for you. But Javon Bullard is expected to go off the draft board after defensive backs from the following schools: Rutgers, UConn, Minnesota. Yeah, yeah,
All DBUs, as we've previously talked about,
yes.
for sure.
All teams and players that have been significant and integral parts of their team winning back-to-back national titles for the first time in college football playoff history. Oh wait, no, that was just Javon Bullard that knocked out the guy who you have projected going fifth overall on a football field with a clean hit, knocking out a touchdown pass. And then in the very next game had 3 turnovers in the first half where he played the second quarter with a separated shoulder. That's that guy.
Yeah.
How the fuck are these people who are experts saying Javon Bullard is the 60th player off the board?
That's disrespectful. I mean, cool for him to play with AD again next, going forward, but
Yeah,
that's
like
no.
if he drops to the Bills at 60th, first off, every NFL team needs new scouts.
Yeah.
I will be. You can buy me. I promise you that. You can pay me to come do it. But the Bills do have an opening at safety and slot corner, so he would pretty much get immediate playing time. Not upset about that. But just the fact that he is projected to go 60th is absolutely fucking absurd to me.
Yeah.
And you know what? I hope you do see this, Javon, because you were the best player in that secondary last year. A secondary that finished top 5 in the country, playing the best wide receivers in the country more often than not, and being disrespected. Like, you were the best safety in college football last year. You were the best slot corner the year before that, and somehow you're projected to go 60th? Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. No, yeah. Wrong. Wrong.
Side note specifically for you, the Lions are projected to take Ricky Pearsall with the 61st overall pick.
I mean, going back to like the group text, like obviously I'm hoping for like if we're getting like wide receiver help, I'm hoping for like, Ladd or Brock, obviously. But you know what? Ricky and like I guess that's the second round.
Yeah.
I can deal with that. That's fine. You know what? The Lions have been much better drafting in, past the first round than they had been drafting in the first round for the most part, outside of last year. So I mean, I'm cool with it.
I think Ricky Pearsall is a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
Long NFL future if he gets used correctly.
Just selfishly, like talking, like, I mean, we're not going to talk about jerseys or anything like that necessarily, like super long, but like, I want to get a new, one of the new Lions jerseys, and if I'm going to get it, I want to get it with a Georgia player on the back. So I'm not going to get a Ricky Pearsall one.
Just get an old Stafford one.
I had an old Stafford one. That's just way back in the closet.
If y'all are seeing me going through headphones right now on YouTube, it's because the left one doesn't really work and the right one keeps saying it's dead. And then the charger says it's fully charged, and I put it in my ear and it says it's dead. Struggling through it here. But Kamari is projected to go 67th to the Commies. Once again, this guy did not allow a touchdown playing the most top 40 defenses of any team in the country, or top 40 offenses of any team in the country last year. Allowed 0 touchdowns. 0. And he's projected to go in the 3rd round.
I wonder why. Like, what's the thought process behind that? Because I mean, I would think
He
better than
hasn't been
that.
injured. Injury is
Yeah.
not a concern. He's played inside and outside. Not a concern. He's fast. He's tall. He's long. He is very shifty. I don't know. I don't know.
Again, people go to the commies to just like for their careers to die. So again, for his sake, I hope that it doesn't happen. Again, the Lions need secondary help.
I
Come home.
if if Kamari Lassiter to the Lions meant he didn't go to the Commanders, I, I'm happy with it. Like
Hey, I'll gladly get a Kamari Lassiter jersey. Let's go.
I just I'm gonna have to calm down because these last two players we talked about have legitimately pissed me off.
Mhm.
Um, Cedric Van Pran is projected to go hang out with George Pickens, Darnell Washington, and Broderick Jones in Pittsburgh. Um,
Okay.
Center is a devalued position, so getting picked 98th overall, not really surprising, but he'll make that team significantly better. So,
Yeah,
like, I
for sure.
can't even say that there's somewhere else I'd like him to go. I think he would make that team a lot better. He's playing in a fairly weak interior defensive line division there. I think he'll do great.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great for him.
Um, Another side note for you: Blake Corum is projected to go to the Cardinals at 104th.
Huh.
I,
Huh.
I thought that was odd.
Yeah. I mean, would you think he would go higher than that or better than that?
I, I mean, yes. How much higher? I don't know.
I mean, like you talked about with like interior offensive line being a devalued position. I mean, same thing goes for running back for the most part. I mean, I know there was two first round backs last year, but
But that's an extreme anomaly.
yeah, that has not happened very often. But I would think that he would go before 104. I would hope so. But again, I don't know what his health situation is right now because he was banged up toward the end of last year and he hasn't been the same since his knee injury in what 2022. So we'll see.
I mean, just there's two teams that pick directly before the Cardinals that I think would be a better fit for him. That's either the Patriots or the Panthers. I think
Either one, yeah.
putting him at the
Yeah.
Panthers takes pressure off of Bryce Young, gives him a better chance to succeed at quarterback. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of it for fourth through seventh. Y'all heard my rants about how in the hell are Javon Bullard and Kamari Lassiter projected to go that late. I don't see it. I don't. Am I biased? Absolutely. But is there a corner at Minnesota, Rutgers, or UConn that's better than either of them? Absolutely not.
No, yeah.
Like I do not care. Like, oh, the guy at UConn shut down a bunch of group of five wide receivers that didn't make a bowl game. Let me give you a round of applause on your way to the seventh round. Like I don't
Right.
care. Um, Speaking of being pissed off and the Panthers, Tyke Smith is projected to go 142nd to the Panthers. I, I've already ranted about it twice now. I will try to do this calmly. But Tyke Smith dropped to 142nd when he was an All American twice. He was an All American twice in
Mhm.
college. He played safety, outside corner, inside corner, all at elite levels. Tyke Smith is 100% one of the reasons that Georgia did as well as they did last year in the secondary, playing
Yeah.
teams that had wide receivers like Juice Wells, Xavier Legette, all of the guys at Ole Miss. All of them. They're all great. Playing the Bama team they did late in the year. And Tyke Smith at slot corner, which is an extremely valuable position at any level of football, is projected to go 142nd. It's absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Um, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint to the Jags at 212. I think if they can fix their offensive line issues and keep Trevor Lawrence upright and healthy, they're fighting for the AFC South every year. I don't hate it as much as I
Yeah.
want to because of how bottom feeder the Jags have been for most of their existence. When they're good, they're great, and they just really need help at a couple of positions to get back there.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I thought was interesting: Joe Milton is projected to the Bills at 248.
That's like the same situation as like Josh Allen, like someone that's not like super polished, like passing the ball, like not necessarily the most accurate quarterback by any means, and that being like a project guy. So actually, I like that pick for them.
I do too. I thought it was
Yeah,
interesting because of that comparison. But even then, 248 with the raw ability Joe Milton has, I still feels a little low. It's probably because he's had so much time to develop in college and shown a lack of development in college.
yeah.
Um, but I truly think that's a little low for him, even for how much shit I've talked about him over the last year.
I mean, I wouldn't want him on my team, but yeah,
No, I'm not
I
saying that
I
I necessarily would,
even
but
if
I think
like,
in the right situation with the right coaching, he could be a serviceable backup.
yeah, he could be
I do think it's interesting the drop in Tennessee players' draft stock, especially on the offense this year compared to last,
yeah.
because they don't have as many. They don't have as many wide receivers going out. Wide
Yeah.
receiver system to system is a little bit more transferable. You're talking running backs and quarterbacks, it's less transferable. And it seems, and I've read this and heard this in multiple places, that the NFL does not value Josh Heupel's offensive scheme.
Hmm.
Um, so, does that affect the future players he can get? Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Um, One of the more interesting things I got out of Jordan Reed's mock draft. Um, Jordan Travis is projected to be Mr. Irrelevant. It's funny that the NFL is planning on contradicting the playoff committee because, according to the playoff committee, Jordan Travis was the only thing relevant about Florida State.
Fair.
Just, I don't necessarily disagree with him.
Hey, they were 13-0 and got and
Uh,
had undefeated everything. That
yeah,
bowl game didn't.
it's. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they played 14 games last year.
No, 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 no. No, that can't possibly be true.
Oh, are they pulling a Dan Mullen and saying that the team that played the bowl game was this year's team? Because if
Could
so, boy, they're gonna have a long season.
Yeah, that's a big hole to climb out of.
Whew. Imagine having to score 60 points just to get even with your first game.
I can't relate.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, cannot relate. So undrafted free agents surprised me quite a bit. Dejan Edwards and Kendall Milton and Zion Logue are all projected to not be drafted according to Jordan Reed. Um, I think whoever signs Dejan or Kendall are going to be lucky to get them undrafted.
Yeah.
It really does
I
surprise me. Go ahead.
yeah, I can't see Kendall going undrafted. Like, I mean, even like no, like sixth or seventh round, even like as a special teams contributor. Like I can't see that happening.
I
I mean,
can't.
Deja I can see. Zion Logue, sure.
Right. With the back half of the 2023 season that Kendall Milton had, it if he goes undrafted, it just proves that the NFL does not care what you do in college, only what you do at the combine and pro day to make their decision on you. It
Yeah,
really does. Like they'll read headlines about what you do in college, but Kendall Milton averaged 2 touchdowns a game in the last 7 games of the season.
yeah.
He averaged over 100 yards once he got healthy last year, with 2 touchdowns and multiple receptions out of the backfield. Like, what part of that does not fit the NFL game?
I don't know.
I think half the teams in the NFL would draft him in the 6th or 7th round and immediately be like, oh, Kendall, go ahead and go over there with starters. Yeah, you ain't on the scout team shit no more after like 3 days of practice.
Yeah, exactly.
So that just bugs me quite a bit. Um, I don't understand how Kendall Milton's not projected to be drafted. I
Yeah,
hope
that's
Jordan
yeah,
Reed
I
is
don't see it.
wrong in every single way.
Hmm.
And, you know, if this reaches him and he wants to come on and talk to us about why he said what he said and projected where he projected, I will listen with an open mind. I really will.
Yeah.
And I hope he does
Yeah.
reach out to us because I am shocked by what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and move on to baseball. For us, this one of the games we're about to talk about is tomorrow. For you guys, it was yesterday. But Georgia did win their series against Ole Miss and reached a season high in the rankings at 20, according to D1 Baseball, 11th in RPI and 17th in the coaches poll. Um, but the week ahead, as we're talking on Monday, is the most difficult week that any college baseball team is going to have throughout the season. Georgia plays number 5 Clemson, who is ranked number 1 for quite a few weeks, tomorrow for us, the 23rd. And they have a weekend series at number 1 Texas A&M.
That'd be a good test.
Yep, this week will go a long way to tell us how far they're going to make it in postseason. They're 29-10 overall, 9-9 in the SEC, projected to make a regional as the number 2 seed this year. And I venture to say if they can split these 4 games, that's an extremely tall task.
Yeah.
I understand what I'm saying here, but if they can find a way to split these 4 games, that could go a long way to hosting a regional because I do not believe Texas A&M's had a loss in about a month.
Well, bright side is they're due for a loss.
That's true. That's true. Charlie Condon beat his record of home runs from last year. He is 2 away from breaking the all-time Georgia season single season record. He is also 2 away from breaking the Georgia all-time record, only playing for 2 years when the guy that currently holds the record played for 4.
Sheesh.
Yep. So when you hear Charlie Condon goes in the first round, hopefully to the Braves, we know what happened.
Yep.
Moving on to softball, the girls 36-11 overall, 10-8 in conference after having a rough couple of weeks. They've got a weekend series against Florida this week for the last home series of the season. So if you want to go out to a softball game, they are free. Highly recommend you go out there. But Georgia is ranked 4th as of today. Florida's ranked 17th, and the next weekend series is against 11th ranked Mizzou. So, ladies have a couple of tough tests before the SEC tournament going on in a few weeks. Go out and support the teams if you're in the Athens area. If you're not, get on ESPN Plus. First off, if you have kids, ESPN Plus is like $2 more a month to add with Disney Plus and Hulu, so it's a no-brainer there. But either way, it's not very expensive. Helps teams out. But yeah, no, I'll be honest. Baseball doing this well this late in the season, wasn't expecting it. And softball being currently probably a significantly higher seed than they were last year, I think will help them out a lot in the SEC tournament to potentially host a regional and or super regional. So both diamond sports are looking good going into late in the semester here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's been a bit since we've been able to be excited for both the boys and girls there, so looking forward to it.
All right, y'all. Follow us on social media. Instagram is at nothing.finder.pod. Twitter is at finderpod. Facebook and YouTube, search us there. The TikTok is Nothing Finer Pod.
Podcast.
Nothing Finer Podcast. Excuse me. We got these handles way too late for them to all be the same. We're doing our best here. But if you haven't already, rate and review the show 5 stars. Share it with a friend. We could always use the support. But as always, guys, remember there is nothing finer in the land
Than a drunken obnoxious Georgia fan.